Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this evening. I'm your host, Vincent Turner, and tonight we have an NFL Draft Prospect Special. And the prospect tonight is Gregory Rousseau, defensive end out of the University of Miami. So if you like the video this evening, please come in and share it as we break down this young man, Gregory Rousseau from the University of Miami. And joining me this evening is a very talented man. I call him the best high school coach in the country. He's a defensive coordinator in North Atlanta High School here in the Metro Atlanta area. My man, the very talented Kevin "the Bull" Jones. So if you like the video this evening, please come in and share it. We are 100 Yards of Football. So how you doing this evening, Mr. Jones?
I tell you what, Vincent, I'm doing great. Great day, even though we had a lot of rain. But, you know, the good Lord, he balances all that out for us because we had a wonderful weekend. So, hey, listen, football is still alive all over America right now, getting ready for the draft.
Yes, sir. So tell us what you like about Gregory Rousseau, the young man that opted out in 2020, but he had an outstanding season in 2019 for the University of Miami.
Well, I tell you what, Vincent, it amazes me how this whole pandemic has taken coaches, players, GMs, and personnel directors and scouting. Every facet of football has gone to a different level because now you have to break down stuff. Now we are literally, who would ever thought that we would break down a player that did not play a season, and we really have to match him up against and get him ready in the draft for people that played this season. I'll tell you something about Mr. Rousseau. He was a fascinating specimen. I mean a specimen because truly he had only 1 year of playing collegiate football. He got injured in 2018, ankle injury that took him out and he couldn't play. So the only year he had to play a full year of college football was 2019, and that was the year that he tied Chase Young, formerly of Ohio State, and also a number one draft pick, who was at that time the best pass rusher coming out in the draft. He tied him for sacks in the nation. So that tells you something about this kid. Is long, 6'6.5", 265 pounds. Some folks say he's closer to 6'7". And with that being said, to watch in one season, he had 19 tackles for losses. 19. That's just crazy. And then he had 15 and a half sacks. And just think, if he had played this season with Jalen Phillips, who was the monster for the U this past season at defensive end. Matter of fact, Phillips even wore his number. But just imagine had he got a chance for Miami to have those bookend kids out there playing, coming off the edge, who would have thought it might have been a different some type of scenario would have been different because they only lost 2 games in the conference. One was to Clemson, and the other one was the debacle against UNC Chapel Hill. But let me get back to Mr. Rousseau. He's agile, he's long, and he has this deceptive strength about him that you can see on film that jumps out, and I know why all of the GMs love him. Also, his background was playing safety and receiver in high school. So he is still totally raw at the position of playing defensive end. In fact, Vincent, he looks better when he goes inside and lines up over the center as a nose, and/or he lines up over the guard in that in a 3 technique, which is on the outside shoulder of the guard, or a 4-eye technique, which is the inside shoulder of the tackle. That's where he did most of his damage. You can still tell he's learning how to use those long arms coming off the edge and running the arc, or as we call it on the high school level, running that hump. You know, he's still in baby stages with that, but he was still effective. But the thing that I love about him is his ability to play all positions on the defensive line. That's why he is, to me, he should be a top 15 pick in the draft.
What I like about Mr. Rousseau, he played in 2019. You know, Coach, I'm a production guy. And when you got production after that, it tells me you working. 2019, 59 tackles, 19.5 for losses, and he had 15.5 sacks. As you said, he was tied with Chase Young in 2019 for the sack leader in the country. But I'm going to end it real quickly here. When I look at him, I look at a Myles Garrett, if he's mature, having that type of skill set. Then, as far as rushing the passer, Montez Sweat, who's right now having a pretty good career with the Washington Redskins. Then, as from an athletic standpoint, he reminds me of a guy that got a Super Bowl ring in Super Bowl III in 1969, the great Bobby Bell. Bobby Bell was about 6'5", very athletic, can run about a 4.5 40 back then. Then, as far as strength, as you said, playing along the offensive line, he reminds me of two defensive ends that played at the University of Nebraska when they had that thing going in 71 and 72 and won back-to-back national championships, Larry Jacobson and John Dutton. And to end it, when you look at all the great defensive ends and outside linebackers play at Miami, I go back to that 2001 squad that beat Nebraska easily in that national championship game, 37-14. He is a mindset, and he's in that groove of an Andre Williams that was a DN on that team, a Jerome McDougal who went first round with the Philadelphia Eagles, and then Cornelius Green. To me, as you said, Coach Jones, I see why all the GMs are in love with him. To me, he has the most upside of any player in the draft. Your final words on Mr. Rousseau.
Well, I tell you something, Vincent, from a defensive standpoint, when you talk about being able to see defensive coordinators that like to take personnel and not have to substitute people all the time and keep people on the field and just move them in different situations for various packages, that makes all the difference in the world sometimes on the ability to confuse the quarterback and or the coordinators of the opposing teams. You want to be able to keep people on the field that can do a multitude of things. And when we talk about Gregory Rousseau, we're talking about a kid who, even though he's slender built, he's 265 pounds on a 6'6" frame, 6'6" and a half frame. You know, his game film shows him splitting double team blocks in run fits. So, and with that slender build, you would think that he would get too high and get caught up in a why sometimes. But because he understands how to engage and disengage off a block, also create the space so that he can disengage off the block. Those are some things that, even though he's not heavy built, and I mean it realistically, he's not a thick ball player in the interior. He does a great job of closing to the football. He doesn't have a whole lot of moves, Vincent. That's what makes him so astonishing, in that to be able to be what we identify as a raw athlete playing on the defensive line. He still has some great things that he does better than most people in college football, and he didn't even play this season. One of them is his ability to read and react, his ability, his tackle radius, because he's so long, his wingspan. He didn't miss a whole lot of tackles when he played. And his eye discipline getting to the ball is magnificent. A lot of his sacks that he got off of the edge came because he did a great job of staying focused on his pass rush, but keeping the eyes on the quarterback at the same time. And believe it or not, Vincent, it wasn't a great pass rush. It was either a bull rush where he put both hands up into the interior lineman, and he just kept his eyes on the quarterback and had a great push. And he was able to find the quarterback. And when the quarterback was started to try to run out the pocket, he had at least about 7 or 8 sacks just off of that. So that tells you something about his football IQ and being able to make plays against some great competition. Now he's going to go to the next level, play against grown men. So now the ball game changes, Vincent. He's going to have to gain some weight. He's going to have to walk into camp with 275 plus 280. Okay, and he's going to have to learn some pass rush moves so that he can be able to help a team in a 3-4 defense as well as a 4-3 defense. And he can play a 3 technique, a 0 technique. He can play on the ends. He can stand up even. He even played in some coverage a couple of times. I just thought that he did a great job. They did a great job of putting him in positions to be successful. And Vincent, for him, I understand what all the glow is about with him. And I agree with you. His upside is on another level because he doesn't even know how to pass rush yet. And I don't have any problem saying it, but he knows it. But when he finds out, Vincent, he's going to be like Chase Young. And I just thought that kid was such a dominating force. I think that Rousseau is going to be the same kind of player.
If you like the video this evening, please come in and share it. As you heard from my man, the Bull man, Kevin the Bull Jones, defensive coordinator at North Atlanta High School. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. All I can say about Gregory Rousseau, he's got the most upside of any player in the 2021 NFL draft. Miami Vice to Gregory Rousseau at the University of Miami. Please, if you like the video this evening, please come in and share it. I'm Vincent Turner, and joining me, the Bull man, Mr. Kevin, the Bull Jones. Thank you, and God bless this evening here on 100 Yards of Football.